Welcome to the Global News Podcast, where we go behind the headlines to find out more about a story that really matters. And today we're looking at Lebanon's efforts to disarm Hezbollah. This military and political group is designated a terrorist organisation by the US, the UK and others. As an ally of Hamas, it waged months of war against Israel in the aftermath of the October the 7th attacks. Now the Lebanese army says it's completed the first phase of a plan that would see Hezbollah give up its weapons. But can that plan really succeed? Well, I'm joined now by BBC Arabic's Carine Torbey, who's in Beirut. Carine, first of all, tell us more about what the Lebanese army are saying that they've actually achieved.
Well, they say that today they declared that they have completed the implementation of phase one of a plan to disarm all military groups within the country. Phase one refers to the area that is very close to the border with Israel, all the border towns with Israel in the south of the country, and it is south of a very known river in the south of the country, which is called the Litani River. This plan was commissioned by the government back in August last year, and the government asked the Lebanese army to implement a multi-phase plan in order to disarm all military groups across all the territory. And today the army says that it has completed phase one, and that basically the only area that is not under its full control in this particular region is the positions that are still occupied by Israel in Lebanon across the border.
And what has Israel's response been to this?
Well, the Israeli's Prime Minister office issued a statement, and in this statement it said that the efforts by the Lebanese government and the Lebanese army are an encouraging beginning, but they are far from sufficient according to the statement. And the statement continues to say that there are evidence that Hezbollah is actually rearming and rebuilding its terror infrastructure, to quote the Prime Minister, the Israeli Prime Minister's statement, with Iranian support. Of course, the Lebanese army says that it has not seen any evidence of Hezbollah receiving a new arsenal or new weapons. But this is the statement that was issued by the Israeli Prime Minister's office today, and we still remain to see whether Israel will see this as something that could be built on, as Lebanon hopes, in order to solve pending issues. Because Lebanon considers that it is fully complying with an agreement that was agreed with Israel back in 2024, and that put an end to the war between Hezbollah and Israel. And that it is Israel, from Lebanon's perspective, that is continuously violating this agreement. And Lebanon demands that Israel withdraws from Lebanon, that Israel stops its strikes on Lebanon. Israel says that it's targeting Hezbollah's position and infrastructure, and that Israel releases all the Lebanese hostages held by it.
Remind us of the importance of Hezbollah in Lebanon, which many describe as a state within a state.
Well, the emergence of Hezbollah goes back to 1982, following the invasion of the Israeli invasion of the capital, Beirut. And from the outset, it was supported and sponsored by Iran. And for a long time, it launched operations that were seen in Lebanon as a resistance operation against the Israeli occupation of southern Lebanon. And that occupation lasted until 2000. After that, Hezbollah continued to basically be present in Lebanon in a significant way, not only as a paramilitary force that was still referred to as resistance group, but also politically. Hezbollah was getting more and more influential, with a very large base of support, especially within the Shia community, and it was represented in the parliament with a very significant representation, later in the government. And it became an integral part of the political system in the country, alongside being a very, very important and strong and powerful paramilitary group. In 2006, it fought almost a month-long war with Israel. And this ended with a big boost to Hezbollah internally. It was seen as some sort of a victory for Hezbollah, and it helped consolidate its image as a very powerful paramilitary group. And that continued basically until 2023, following a Hamas attack on Israel on October 7. Then Hezbollah, the day after, opened what it called a solidarity front from Lebanon in support with Gaza. And that front basically meant that Hezbollah started by targeting Israeli positions. And what ensued was almost a year-long tit-for-tat, low-intensity conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. But that all changed in September 2024, when it all escalated with a massive campaign from Israel against Hezbollah and against Lebanon. And that really was full-blown war that ended in November 2024 with an agreement that was sponsored by the United States that was called Agreement for the Cessation of Hostilities between Lebanon and Israel. But after that war, Hezbollah came out very severely battered.
And of course, it lost its long-time leader, didn't it, to Hassan Nasrallah, who was killed by Israel.
That was a massive blow as well. That was one big blow to the party, and maybe beyond as well. And after this moment, we can say that it's still reeling from that huge loss for the party. What it lost as well was some sort of a political kind of cover within Lebanon, because although there was always a lot of opposition within the country against the presence of Hezbollah as a paramilitary group, this wasn't really making any big difference within the country and within and for the presence of Hezbollah. But what happened afterwards was the election of a new president and the coming of a new government is basically some sort of a change of course internally regarding Hezbollah. And that explains basically the decision by the government that to disarm all military groups in the country. It doesn't really mention Hezbollah by the name, but everyone knows that the main military group in the country, the most powerful one, is Hezbollah. And this is a decision that was considered, just a year ago as something completely not expected in the country. And it happened, and it showed that basically there was a huge change of course politically in the country that came in parallel to the weakening of Hezbollah, the huge military weakening of Hezbollah.
Thanks, Carine. That was Carine Torbey there in Beirut for BBC Arabic. And you can find out more on the Global News podcast. Just find it wherever you get your podcasts. If you particularly liked this episode, please subscribe to us here on YouTube. And if you want us to cover another story, please tell us in the comments below. But that's it from this edition. Thanks for watching and listening to us here on YouTube.